Welcome to Cleveland. We're here outside the perimeters of the Republican convention with EJ Dionne, one of America's great political columnists, author also of the recent book, Why the Right Went Wrong. EJ, thanks a lot for being with us.
Good to be with you.
So does this convention confirm the thesis of your book that the right has gone wrong?
For the sake of the country, I wish I could say I was all wrong myself, but in fact, I think this convention does confirm the core thesis of my book. Indeed, I think it dramatizes it in important ways. That I argue in the first sentence of the book that the history of American conservatism is a story of disappointment and betrayal, which has led to radicalization. And what you see on the floor of that convention is a kind of anger and radicalism that you have not seen before, even at very conservative Republican conventions. I also argue in the book that really since the mid-90s, since Clinton was president, conservative politicians have played along with those, or sometimes have done it themselves, who've challenged the very legitimacy of the opposition. They challenged the legitimacy of Clinton's election, Barack Obama's right to be president, and this leads to a very different kind of politics than the politics you have when people disagree and simply say, with at least some respect, you're wrong, here's why.
As opposed to lock her up, which seems to have become sort of almost the leitmotif of Cleveland.
Precisely, lock her up is antithetical to a normally functioning democratic country. You don't lock up your opposition. There was even a Trump delegate who said that she should be put before a firing squad. This was an actual Trump delegate, not just an outside voice from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And there is a tolerance of a kind of violent speech at this convention that you simply didn't hear from other kinds of conservatives, and there's a darkness here about the state of the country that is antithetical to Reagan's sunniness.
So you've been to 19, correct me if I'm wrong, you've attended 19 conventions dating back to 1972. Where does this rank? I mean, in terms of what you've just described, don't conventions always have a bit of anger, a bit of exaggeration, a bit of theater?
They all do, and of course, 1968, which I didn't go to, was a very violent convention when the country and the Democratic Party were falling apart over Vietnam. There were some fights in 72, in the McGovern years. There was certainly a strong battle between Reagan and Ford in 76 and Carter and Kennedy in 1980. But I cannot remember, and I've talked to my colleagues about this, and by no means alone, anything that is quite as menacing, as pessimistic, or as angry as this convention has been.
So describe to me in a nutshell, what has this convention told you about Trump's Republican Party? What is it? What exactly does it stand for?
Well, I think Trump has made politics more about anger than problem solving and more about power seeking than anything else. Obviously, all politicians want power, but I think you're seeing a willingness here to say almost anything and exploit all kinds of feelings, speaker after speaker, to make a point about immigration, talking about the number of people killed by illegal immigrants, as opposed as a percentage of the whole. They are tragic, every one, but this is a way of sort of bringing it home in a way that implies things about all other immigrants that just aren't true, and that's very troubling.
So the convention next week, Hillary's convention in Philadelphia, just briefly, she's responding to a convention that says lock her up, and if I may say so, one of the best-selling T-shirts here is entitled "Trump That Bitch." I don't like to use such language, but it's on the streets everywhere. How does she respond, very briefly, to this? How does she counter this?
Well, first, the more this kind of sexist language is used, the more it's going to enhance her advantage among women. My own view is Trump cannot win this election because African-American women won't let him, and because Latinos won't let him. But I think that you're going to see a much more positive Democratic convention, not out of the virtue of the Democratic Party, but because I think Hillary Clinton knows that if she can improve the country's view of her a little bit, if she can push back just a little bit against some of the negatives that are held against her, she has a very good chance not only of winning, but of winning substantially. She also wants a more favorable image because she is afraid of losing votes to third-party candidates. So I think there'll be a lot of anti-Trump stuff, but still a broadly positive convention for her.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in Philadelphia next week. Thanks a lot, EJ.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.